Member of Senate Commerce and Transportation, Senator Ted Cruz. Senator, your reaction to the story: you've got bipartisan legislation signed into law today to do things like bolster infrastructure in Texas. How concerned are you about our nation's infrastructure?
Well, very concerned. And at this point, we're dealing with the tragedy that unfolded in Baltimore with the container ship that struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And we've had 2 people who've been rescued, but 6 or 7 people are currently missing. The search and rescue operation is underway, and I've been in touch with the Coast Guard and the NTSB. The Coast Guard is right now searching, and hopefully we will find these survivors and pull them to safety. But at this point, we don't know. So our prayers are with the people who are missing, with their families, and also with the first responders. After that, the NTSB is going to begin their investigation. And I'll tell you, the NTSB, I think, does a very thorough job whenever you have an accident of this sort of examining what was the cause, what went wrong, why did the ship hit the bridge, was it operator error, was there something else? And so they will investigate and get to the bottom of it. But then we will begin the process of rebuilding the infrastructure, and that is enormously important. It's something I'm focused on. As you noted, just this week, the president signed into law legislation that I authored, bipartisan legislation to designate a new interstate freeway, I-27, that in Texas will run from Laredo all the way up from South Texas through West Texas. I'm right now in Midland, Texas. It'll run through here, up through the Panhandle, and ultimately up into New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, and all the way up to Canada. And infrastructure, I think, is critically important for transporting goods and services and crops and livestock and people, and we need to be investing in our infrastructure.
Got it. Let's move to this story. Trump's media company took off in its debut in trading on the NASDAQ. Trump added something like $4 billion to his net worth in just one day. He's now worth $6.5 billion. He owns more than half the company. He's now one of the 500 richest in the world. This is going to help him with his court battles. It's an amazing stock performance on a company that reportedly has just about $3 million in sales. What's your reaction to this?
Well, look, I'm very glad to see it happen. I got to say, what has happened with the legal persecution of Donald Trump has been an absolute outrage. Between the 4 criminal prosecutions that are ongoing of partisan prosecutors who hate Donald Trump, and then the civil case, this outrageous $450 million judgment that they're trying to take $500 million from Donald Trump for something that involved no victim, that no bank lost any money, that the banks made money on it, that they wanted to make more loans, and yet the partisan New York Attorney General, who campaigned on saying, I'm going to get Donald Trump, is reveling in trying to take $500 million from him. This is banana republic stuff. And I got to say, anyone doing business in New York, it's got to scare you that Democrats think they have unfettered ability just to confiscate millions of dollars from any business they don't like. That's frightening, and it's really bad for future business in New York.
You know, Wall Street and investors seem to want to hear from Trump, but breaking news coming in. A judge just slapped a new gag order on Trump in the New York hush money case, saying he can't talk about it. And it's a case that legal pros say is highly problematic. It's a state books and records case that the Manhattan DA has pumped higher into federal felony for supposedly influencing, the election. But the National Review says Trump's Democrat enemies, they're moving to destroy Trump, destroy his business, drain his resources, blacken his reputation, stop his presidential campaign, and they want to literally lock him up. But you can't stop Trump.
Yeah. Listen, Liz, this is Alvin Bragg, who's the Democrat DA, is a George Soros DA. He was elected with millions from George Soros. And this is a partisan abuse of power. In more than 200 years of our nation's history, no president has been indicted, no former president has been indicted. Trump's been indicted 4 times. And understand, when these partisan Democrats are going after Trump, yes, they hate him, but what this really is they're attacking the American people. This is an assault on democracy, because these prosecutors are terrified that the voters are going to re-elect Donald Trump in November. They're trying to stop that, and every Democrat that beats their chest and says we're defending democracy while turning a blind eye on this assault on democracy, they're guilty of historic levels of hypocrisy.
We hear you loud and clear, Senator Cruz. We appreciate you so much for coming on the show and helping us out tonight. It's good to see you again, Senator Cruz. Okay.